been talking from the morning. We are all waiting for Chetan to speak. Let's hear it out and let's maximize the time which we have got. Thank you.
Okay, well, hello everybody. There's something about coming to South India, you know. I feel like I've come to meet my in-laws. I know.
You know what? We say Mapillai.
Mapillai. Yeah, Mapillai. I only know little bit Tamil.
Okay.
Enna unna kadali karan.
Oh, yeah.
And I think as long as you know that much, you are fine. So anyway, really nice to be here. I have a soft spot for Tamilians. And, you know, I heard that all you students took part in the management and learning about leadership and everything, which is really good. Because when I was your age, I had no idea what leadership is. And, you know, but the fact that you have made it today, the fact that you came and decided to spend your Friday learning about leadership shows that, you know, you are different from others. So I hope you will do really, really well in times to come. You know, they skipped the Australia-New Zealand match, which is, I know, not a very important match, but still, right? How many following the World Cup? How many you, everybody? Yeah. It's not really started yet, right? Sunday. Who do you think winning Sunday? They better win, right? Because last time's humiliation was just too bad. Do you remember the last time's World Cup? Anybody? Yeah. So I hope they make it up to us this time, and this one should be easy. Let me just load up the presentation if it's on. Oh, it's not on. It's here also. You have all this high technology and stuff like that. So, but anyway, how's your session going today? How many sessions do you have? 6 sessions. So I'm the last one. So you guys are all tired a little bit. Oh. No, not tired. Or is it this one? Why are there so many laptops here? Huh? What's going on? So what is Coimbatore famous for? Somebody's honest. So what is, okay, stand up. Who said girls? Now you're in trouble. So what is so special about Coimbatore girls? Yeah, you can have a mic. Don't worry. Like, I mean, of all the things in the world, right? He could have said food and buildings and, you know, temples and things like that. He said girls, right? So there must be something he has felt is there in Coimbatore girls. So what is it? Please enlighten us.
One word, that's love.
Oh. So are you in love with the Coimbatore girl?
I'm not in love yet.
You are not in love yet?
But if
You are
I love
looking for
somebody,
love.
if I'm going to love somebody, that's definitely from Coimbatore.
Oh. I wish I could say the same, but it's too late now. But you are looking for.
Of course.
You are okay. So you know, all the locals, please. And can we have the mic to one of the Coimbatore girls? You can give the mic to.
Sure.
I'm not fixing you guys up. I'm just. Yeah, just to anybody who can just talk about Coimbatore boys a little bit. Like maybe this lady there. Yeah, you're from Coimbatore, right? You're not from Coimbatore now, huh? Hyderabad. Okay, that's a Coimbatore.
I'm here to answer you.
Okay, what is your name?
Bharti Priyadarshini.
Okay, so what are Coimbatore boys like? I mean, just to be even, you know, just to.
Yeah.
And self-delusional, little bit.
Respectable, adorable.
Huh?
Respectable, adorable.
Adorable. Oh, wow. I have to say, the girls here are very kind. I asked this in, I think, some other city in the north, in Patna or somewhere. They said, very horrible, sir. Please. They are very bad, sir. They trouble us.
No, they are sweet.
They are sweet.
Yeah.
Oh. So you have any extra sweet one?
Sorry?
Do you have any extras? Yaya.
No.
Give it to the Yaya girl. She seems to know. Stand up, stand
I'm
up.
not from Coimbatore.
You're not, but you, there is a special someone for her?
No. Not at Coimbatore. Not at Coimbatore.
Not at?
Not at Coimbatore.
Not at Coimbatore. So you chose a boy out of Coimbatore?
Maybe.
That's not good, yeah?
expecting
what
an
will
answer.
happen to Coimbatore? What will happen? They will be looking for love here and then all the girls are gone. Okay. Anyway, let's come back. Okay. All this nonsense aside. Okay. So welcome to the India Leadership Summit. Before I get into leadership, for me, it's more about, what I'll talk to you about is my own journey, how things have happened for me. Some of you may know that, some of you may not know. But it's always nice to see it from my point of view, how I looked at it. Because the newspapers and wherever else you find out stuff from is showing you only the highlights. It only showing you the high points of my career. But, there are highs and lows everybody has. So I want to share that with you today. Especially many of you are looking to become entrepreneurs, learning how to become leaders. There are highs and lows, There is no always high. Being a leader, people like being a leader because sometimes leaders achieve a lot. But a lot of times they don't. A lot of times they fail. A lot of times things don't work out. And that happens to you also in your life, and that happens to leaders also, that happens to me also. So I'm going to focus on that as to how to handle your low phases. When life is not treating you right, when you go through a low phase, sometimes something happens to you and you just give up or you just feel like not doing it. And then all the knowledge of leadership, all the knowledge in the world is useless because you have quit. Mentally you have quit. And then you find even like in cricket sometimes, they say, even the captain says, Dhoni says many times, it's a mental game. Because they have the ability, but if mentally you don't feel right, they are not able to win, right? They are not able to play, even though they have the ability. So that often happens to us. So I'm going to tell you how to deal with situations like that in life. I don't have too much time, so I have to give you something which you can take away, something that is useful to you. And I'll relate it from my own life, and then maybe that would be helpful to you, right? But before we do that, right, before we get into all that seriousness of everything, let's just look at something. One of the first leadership exercises I had to do was to convince my mother to let me marry a Tamil girl. It's very difficult, trust me. It's harder than writing a book. It is something which took a lot of effort because my mother was like, why aren't you marrying a Punjabi girl, right? Mothers don't realize it's so difficult to patao a girl, right? It is so difficult to get a girl to agree to marry you. And then she says, why her, why not her? It's not like there is so much choice, right? So I had to really work on it. So I thought I will tell her using scientific methods that why Tamilian girls are better. How many non-Punjabi girls here? Girls who are not, any Punjabi girl here, by the way? Oh, one. I'm sorry. For this presentation, I had to do this. I had no choice. It was, as the gentleman says, the question of love. So you have to do it. So I thought I'll share this with you because you will also make the same mistakes. And you must know how to deal with. So my first few section is why non-Punjabi girls are better than Punjabi girls. And you're like, what is happening here? This is a leadership summit. Right. No. And actually you don't need this because the gentleman here immediately said the best thing about Coimbatore is the girls. So, but I believe the same. I came with that presentation because I anyway had to do this, right? So you're like, how do you do it scientifically, right? How? So let's go. Next. This is the first slide. This is the first slide. Of course, you're all, whenever a speaker comes and shows a graph in a presentation, it's very intelligent, right? It's like it comes across like he's really smart. So I thought I will also show a graph. But it's, something which I have observed. And the Punjabi diet is little richer in dairy products and things like that. And of course, the Tamil girls are also getting fat. It's not true that they are, but the weight is rising, but the rate of growth is is faster. And in the yellow line and the red line, at the end, the gap you see, that is the north-south gap. What they talk about. So, next. This is very expensive. So it's very, what can I say, it's, for a new boy, he's a new in his job. If a girl, his wife spends a lot of money in shopping, it's not good, or the money is not there. So it's kind of something to think about. Next. Punjabi girls don't like to read much books. Now I'm a writer, so that can be disappointing. And Femina is not a book, right? And everybody knows, but that's something. Next. You guys have dance steps, which is like Bharatnatyam and all people learn for 10 years. Punjabis have only 1 or 2 steps. And I will not show you. But if you remember the first graph of weight, even those steps become difficult to do over time. So that is the other reason. And last is the mother-in-law argument frequency. So it's I don't know, this is most important, and that's something which you have to think about also. So next. My final conclusion of this study is what I'm also telling you, that you also should not only be not be against, but also encourage. Please do this so that our country can become one. So
Chetan, I cannot control myself.
Yeah.
Do you have a state-wise analysis on this?
Yes. We should build it further. Maybe we can.
Yeah, for the benefit of all of us.
Maybe we can make a case study out of this. But this is so far what I've done. But I'm sure you guys will have similar experiences and add to the academic body of learning. And I'm sorry, Punjabi girl. It was just something I had to do. But aap yahan kaise phas gaye? Okay, you've come with the friends. Okay, so that's that. Next. So I just thought I'll talk to you about my journey, as I told you, to kind of just talk about. And innovation, something which I'm sure the word has come today, right? Many times this word would have been used. It's something, it's there right here, innovate, lead, inspire, right? That's the tagline of your presentation, of the seminar today. And it's something which is very close to my heart. I feel whatever I've achieved is because of some innovation. Innovation doesn't mean you have to invent something truly great, but just doing things slightly differently, new, challenging, changing all the time. And the emphasis on how everyone can be innovative. It's not like only creative people can be innovative, or people in certain fields can be innovative. Anybody can be innovative. You can be innovative even if you're at a cashier at a bank. There are ways to be innovative. So that's something which is, I'll give you an example of real life on how these innovations were done. Yeah, we are all set for that, the audio and all. Yeah. So, and then I don't like to call it motivation so much. I call it refueling, Every now and then in life, everybody needs refueling. You get your phone, it gets discharged if you use it. But to recharge means to really have new set of goals, new directions. You work hard, you clear your board exam, or you clear your college entrance or whatever, and then you now what? Now what, right? Now what is basically you need a new set of goals. So, how to do that? How do I do that? I have tried to do that for myself, non-stop. Many of you will find me the way I was when 5.7 came out versus the things I'm doing now, apart from books, is totally different. Like, for example, talks like this. This was never part of the plan in the beginning, but it's the constant refueling that has come. So next. This is, let me first begin with my journey. So this is the first reaction the first publisher who I took my first book to had. I had spent 2 years writing the book, but he felt it can't be published because he felt that, his view was Indians don't read books. So I asked him, so why have you become a publisher then if Indians are not reading books? So he said, because if you publish your book abroad, you publish a book abroad, then if it wins an award, then I will, then I can publish it, and then it will sell some copies and whatever, so we can't do this. So next. And then that's the next guy said this, that we publish a book if we feel it will sell 1,000 copies. This is the break-even analysis. A publisher needs certain amount of sales to cover costs, and yours won't, right? So basically, I made a list of all my friends and relatives and aunts and neighbors and neighbors. But I reached only 200 people. So I said, can I do 200? And you can you sell 800? Because I think I can manage 200 people to buy it. And he said, no, I don't think it can do that. So next. And this is what the third guy said, that you're a techie, so why don't you write a textbook? So, which is fine. I have no problem. But I've stayed in a hostel and I've seen how much students curse the textbook writers one day before the exam, right? I know. So, I didn't want to, and how they curse. I don't even want to say the curses they say in Coimbatore, but you get the point. Next. And so one by one after the other, 9 different publishers said no to the book. And each no is not like immediate, right? They keep the book, they take 2 months to respond, and then they give you some reason or the other. One by one, 9 different publishers said no. They said it cannot be published. And I also started thinking maybe, I'm not trained to be a writer, and maybe I think it's good, but if so many experts in the industry are saying, then okay, fine. But luckily, next, one guy, which I think more out of sympathy for my face, that he said, okay, we'll give it a try. And he's still my publisher till today, and we still talk almost every week or whatever. But that's when, in January 2004, he accepted the book, and it came out in May 2004. So next. So Five and Someone came in May 2004, and it sold 1 million copies to date now. So, it's 1,000 books is minimum you need to sell. So 10,000 is considered a big hit, because then the publisher throws a little party and says, I've sold 10,000. It's a major bestseller. So this was 100 times a bestseller's number. And Three Idiots, of course, is a historic. Anybody who has not seen Three Idiots here? No. Go see now. I'm joking. How come you have never seen? It's obviously one of the biggest movies. So next. And the same publishers then said, Five Point Someone has transformed Indian publishing forever. The same people who said Indians don't read books came to the conclusion that was a wrong assumption. And now, actually, the entire publishing is focused on my kind of books, because, that's the Indian market, the domestic market, no longer the award abroad and then publish here market. Because that's actually a very narrow market compared to what, and, if everywhere in the world people read books, why would Indians not read books? It's kind of a silly thing to think about if you look back. Okay, next. This is very quickly my work so far. After that, One Night at a Call Center came out after that. Then The 3 Mistakes of My Life. And then Hello, a film which came out. Anybody has seen Hello here? Anybody? Anybody liked it? No, 1 people liked it. Okay, thank you. At least somebody in Coimbatore likes it, because nobody liked it. And for some reason it didn't do well, and it wasn't well made, whatever. And actually, Hello, I will talk about it later on. It was a big setback because it's the first movie. And but that's when I decided actually to quit. I was working in a bank, after my education. And after Hello, I realized that if I have to do films, I can't do it on the side. Books was a side activity, but films cannot be, because it's 200 people work on one film. My name is associated with it, so I have to be there. So I quit after that, and then came Two States, which we were talking about, then Three Idiots, and now I do columns. How many of you have seen my columns? Does Times of India come here? Yeah, it does, right? Some of you. Yeah, you do, yeah. So you saw Sonia Gandhi, open letter, yeah, you saw all that. Tomorrow there's another one called Ducks and Crocodiles, which talks about our politicians, but in a short story format. So it's something interesting. And then talks, and I don't know, from Mr. Nobody, who nobody wanted to publish, to now Time Magazine calling me 100 most influential people in the world. Obviously, they have not met my in-laws, because I cannot convince them about anything. But the Time magazine sometimes makes mistakes, and they have made it, and it's in my favor, so I'm going to put it on the slide. Okay, so no, but it's nice. It's nice wherever I go, people have read the books. I mean, it has restored my belief that India is one country, because wherever I go, my books, people read and like it in the same way. So that means fundamentally, we are the same people, because whatever I'm writing is connecting everywhere, right? So next. This is a graph, like I told you, I'll talk about ups and downs. This is a graph which may be hard to see for people back there. It's okay, you don't have to. It's only illustrative. And it's ups and down graphs of my life. But I want you to go home and make this same graph on a notebook for yourself, right? And I'll tell you what it is. You have to put in there later on. But basically what this is years, the time, basically since 97 when I finished my studies till now. And then the things that happened which were the ups and downs of my life, and mainly my career, right? But if you are making it for yourself, you can put your other things also, like relationships or health or things like that, because anything can cause an up and down in life. It's not necessarily career, but I'll tell you what you can put for students also. It will come. But I left, finished my studies and had a job in a bank called Peregrine in Hong Kong, which I joined. It's a finance company in Hong Kong, so I was very happy that I've got this job. But in 4 months, the bank closed down. I didn't do anything, okay? I mean, it's not like I went there and pressed a few wrong buttons and, oh my God, what's happened? Nothing like that. There was an Asian financial crisis at that time. And like you had the US financial crisis last year or so, there was an Asian financial crisis, and there were no jobs. And my whole company had 1,800 people. Hong Kong is a small town, and they all needed jobs, and all the other banks were cutting people, so it was very difficult. But I managed to get a job in Goldman Sachs, a very prestigious place, but at a demotion. I had to take a cut in terms of salary, in terms of my title, everything. I had done my postgrad, but I had to take an undergrad job because there were just no jobs. So you want a job? Well, this is what you'll get. So I took it. Then that went okay for a while, but then I had a really bad boss. And once I had a bad boss, it was tough time for me. I couldn't move out. There was a .com bust at that time. So I couldn't get another job elsewhere. I wrote the book just to kind of distract myself, and nobody wanted to publish the book either, which I shared with you. So for 2-3 years, it was big low phase for me. And then, the book came out, and that did okay. And then, I had a better job. Similarly, and more books came out. It was doing fine. But then Hello came. And Hello was a failure. And like I told you, it was a failure. Films is one thing, when it's a failure, everybody tells you. If you are working in a bank and you don't do a good job, only your boss knows and few people know. Your neighbors don't know. Right? They think, oh wow, he's working in a bank. What they don't know is everybody hates him there, or things like that. Right? But in films it's different. In books, everybody will tell you. Your driver will also tell you. He will tell you, sir, no, it's not good. And they will even suggest improvements. They will say, you could put one more song, And I mean, all okay. So, although I hadn't made the film, I still said, I haven't made Hello, I haven't made Three Idiots, somebody else makes it. But it had my story. And, I was associated with it because the book was already popular. So it was something which, people ascribed to me as my failure. And I realized I have to be more involved. I have to be more choosy. I have to be a lot more focused. And like I said, Hello was, a lot of people don't even remember Hello. But for me, it was a big turning point. I realized I have to leave my job if I want to do this properly. And it was very hard to take that decision because you are working in a bank, very senior, traveling, all over the world, whatever, and you just suddenly say, I'm going to leave that and do this. And it's a big, high stakes game then. So anyway, I did that, and then 2 states and 3 idiots. Now, in the next 10 years, I don't know where this graph will go, right? I don't know. And I do know it will be ups and downs. I do know that. And I can tell you for sure that you will also have ups and downs. And I can tell you for sure you had ups and downs. That is the nature of life, That is the nature of life, that things change suddenly. Things change. We keep planning and we think we'll go like this and like this and like this, but things suddenly happen. Whether it's your company closing down, or whether you get a job, or whether it's admission in a college, or whether you meet your life partner, or whether whatever happens, something happens in your family, good or bad, it can happen suddenly, and life changes. And it's only when these changes happen that good things happen and bad things also happen. But the fact is, if you want to keep moving ahead, you have to let the changes happen. You have to not run away from the changes. What happens is, human mind is such that we are like, it's okay, you know. I don't want to change things too much. I don't want to change. But if you don't change, things don't improve either. Okay? Next. So for me, this is a refuel point, I call it. You know, for me, why do I write the next book? Why do I write the 5th book now? Why do I make another movie now? Right? I've already seen my, I've already made, sold the books very well, makes money. I've made money in the bank also earlier. So that I've seen. I have seen my name in the paper. I've seen myself on TV. I mean, it's fine. The biggest hit of Bollywood is on my book. I've seen that also. Why do I write the next book now? What makes me keep going? That is my motivation issue I have. And the other thing is, I have to deliver to massive expectations. After 2 states, people are like looking to what is there next. And it is quite difficult to meet those kind of expectations. My own health, I'm traveling a lot. I have to take care of myself. I was in Delhi this morning, and luckily Indigo has started a new flight, which is 2 weeks back or 3 weeks back. So I think I was able to make it here. But it's something hectic. My own motivation, you know, like I said, why am I doing it? And that's when I have decided to kind of do more, do more than just writing for entertainment. I know I can entertain people. I know I can do that now fairly confidently. But can I use my writing to actually change? That's a different level of challenge. Can I change things with my writing? Can I change mindsets? Yeah, maybe. And can I change the way the country works? Can I change the way the people think? Very difficult, but not impossible in a democracy, because ultimately if people's thinking changes, then the way they vote changes, and things like that. So that's the new direction I've taken. Then I feel like writing. Then I feel like, okay, there is more to be done. It's not going to be like something I've already done. Okay, next. So highs and lows, coming back to that, I told you in show business, whether it's films or books, they are specially pronounced, right? And therefore I draw a lot of lesson from such people. As I came to the Bollywood, I'm not still, I would say, part of Bollywood, but I'm associated with it in many projects. So I got a chance to see it from the outside. Someone who has been in student life, someone who has been in the competitive, call in a corporate, and now getting to see Bollywood. So I thought, what can I learn from these people? Apart from building your muscles and going to the gym, is there something from their psychology I can learn? And this is what I found is a very good thing that I can bring back. Okay, that there is a very visible success and failure is the nature of their profession. If they have a hit, the world will love them. If they have a flop, nobody loves them, right? You know this hero called Imran Khan, new. Yeah, so remember his first movie, Jaane Tu? Okay, of course, you can see they really revised their course materials very well. And then he had these movies called Kidnap and Luck, which are big flops. And then I Hate Love Stories, which kind of did okay, but he's still kind of getting there, ups and downs. You remember Hrithik Roshan? Yeah? First movie, anybody remembers? Wow, these people are good, with their trivia. Okay. And then after that came movies like Yadein, and one very longish, boring movie called Main Prem Ki Diwani Hoon. Remember how it was? Like, it never ended only, that movie. It was like a TV serial. And, yeah, I know, Kareena Kapoor. Someone's like, yeah, sir, Kareena Kapoor. So, yeah, okay, I know, she's nice. Okay. But that's not the theme of the presentation today. That's a separate presentation. Kareena, Katrina, and all this. Which we'll do next year. Okay. So, and then came Krish. So then he became a hit again. Right? And then came Kites. Flop. Super flop. Right? Let's face it. We all know that he has failed. Now he's a human being. Right? Let's assume that actors are human beings. Of course they are. So how does he cope? Kites took 60 crores to make. 2 years to make the movie. It's like as much like a big building you can make with that much money. Imagine you make a big building for 2 years. And on the inauguration day, you call all these people. And then the moment you turn the key, the building falls down. right? That's how it must feel. He has no choice. People will tell they didn't like it. And driver will tell, sir, why does the heroine not speak Hindi? Or whatever, right? Afterwards, everybody will say. But he can't do anything. Now to come back, he has no shortcut. He has to do another movie for 2 more years. You know, it's so boring to make movies. I can't tell you. It's so interesting to watch movies. But I can't stand the sets and all. That's why I never become a pro. In one full day of shooting 12 hours, they shoot 60 seconds of actual movie, which is used. So imagine how dragged out that 1 minute is. Either light change, aise light change, karte rehte pura din. And then he has to make the whole movie and hope that it does well. And then people will accept him again. How does he cope? As a human being, wherever he goes on the road, if it's a hit, people will wave. If it's a flop, flop guy. How does he cope? Right? Amitabh Bachchan had the same career. I mean, before that, Himesh, I don't know, he was a really popular singer, but he's nowhere right now. Amitabh Bachchan, I mean, he's been there for 40 years plus. Very long career, but it wasn't without ups and downs. You know, Amitabh Bachchan was bankrupt once. Some of you are young, may not remember this, but some of the older people here will know he was bankrupt once. He was so bankrupt that the bank had him as collateral. And the bank said, you work wherever you get a job because you have to pay us our money back. And he had to do any movie and every dance at the wedding that came to him. And he did that. In the 80s, there were some really bad Amitabh Bachchan movies, but those were done for money. And now he's back and KBC, and it's like 60 some, late 60s and still going strong. Almost anybody in show business faces this. That means if they can cope, that means the human mind is stronger than we think. Right? That means the human mind can cope with a lot of setbacks. We just don't think it. We are not so scared that a student gets poor marks and he says, I want to kill myself. It's okay. You know, people have bigger problems in life. And this problem will go away. One day this will not even matter. Do you remember your class 5 science scores? I don't think so. But at that day, if you came last in class, you felt horrible. You felt the world is over. But you don't now, right? Similarly, if something is not working out, you don't get a job, you're in a job, you don't clear the promotion, you don't clear an interview, you start feeling there's something wrong with me. You know? I don't know, something's missing in me. I'll never make it. I'll never be like these smart guys, you know, who go. I'm there. Something is wrong, you know. My family background is not right. I'm from a very small town. My English is not good. My Tamil is not good. I don't have the right education. My school was horrible. Like some excuse you will find. But what is happening is your body, your mind, you are giving up. You're quitting. Whereas you don't need to. Because if Hrithik Roshan gave up after Kites, he's gone. Right? But if he tries, you might love him again. And that's what he wants, right? So, same thing applies to all of us at a much lower scale. Let's keep going. Next. Highs and lows of student life. You're like, okay, sir, very fine. Good examples, actors, you. But we are not actors. We are students. Tell us about us. Okay, fine. So let's come down from, I gave the show business examples because it's easy, popular, everybody can relate. But let's look at the highs and lows of student life. You'd agree these are the highs of student life? When you get good marks, it feels good. Acquiring knowledge, when you gain a skill, you actually learn something. It does feel good. Placements, when you get a job. Extracurricular achievements to also feel good, right? When you win a prize at this competition or debate or sports or whatever, music. These are the highs. So I'm not going to worry about the highs so much. Okay? Everybody has a different mix. Some people only want marks, some people only want this. Assuming you want a mix of all this. Next. Let's look at the lows, which is part of student life. Everybody faces it, right? Poor marks, low self-confidence. How many of you stay in a hostel? Yeah? First time out of the house, obviously, right? A lot of you. You feel in the beginning, you know, I don't know if I'll have friends. I don't know if I'll fit in. Things like that. Low stress, too much to study, too much to cope with. Lack of interest in course can happen. Yeah. You don't like the course you signed up for. Happens. You're not alone. It's happening to people. Distractions. What are the distractions? What do you think? Huh? Mobile phone. 2 states, little bit. Okay. And then internet, Facebook, all sorts of things that can't be even mentioned here. But just distracted, just distracted. You have to make these highs and lows of your timeline as a student so far. What happened? What were the highs? What were the lows? Why? Because next. What can lows do to you? Okay? Because if those lows happen, what can they do to you? One is they can kill your spark. Right? Have you seen little children? You give them a balloon, what happens? They jump, right? Wow, balloon. Give them a chocolate. Go to the park, they find a swing. They're like, wow, they'll run to it. Give them a comic. Oh, Spider-Man, right? What is happening? They're so excited. It takes so little to make them happy, right? And then as people get older, that stops happening, right? People don't get happy so easily. Yeah, whatever, fine. Okay, balloon, who cares? Or even if it's not a balloon, if it's something you want, you like, yeah, this book is out, this movie is out, yeah, fine, all movies are shit. You get jaded. You lose your spark. This happens when you have a low in life. You're not realizing it's happened because of what reason. But your mindset has changed. It's not that easy to make you don't feel like getting up in the morning. You don't feel like going to class. You're like, yeah, okay, what difference does it make even if I go or not? What difference does it make if I listen or not? That means your spark has been killed. And that's something which happens in our education system. It's kind of not a very good education system, I would say. It's okay, but it discourages a lot of things in people, so they kill their spark very early on. How many of you know here how to paint? Okay, so out of this hall, sir, how many? 10? Yeah? Out of 300 people? I asked the same question in my kids' class when they were 4-year-old. I said, how many of you can paint? Everybody raised their hand. I didn't ask you paint well. I didn't ask you paint the walls or paint a painting. And if you were all 4-year-old, you would have raised your hand. What happens? At some age, a voice within you says, shut up, don't raise your hand. You can't do this. Please, you suck at painting. You're so horrible. Don't ever raise your hand if anybody says you can do anything good. Because you can't do it. That's killing your spark. It shouldn't be. Who cares? Right? If people say it's good or bad. If you like painting, or maybe the job is just to paint this wall. I don't know. Depends what you're talking about, sir. So that's what is spark. Bitterness. You'll find some students who are very bitter about life. Nothing is good. This movie is horrible. What is coming on TV is horrible. Newspapers are horrible. This stupid summit is horrible. I don't like the food. I don't like this city. They have so much bitterness inside them that it's oozing out. You meet grown-ups also, not just students. People who are just negative and bitter about life. We all have that one relative who's always saying negative things. You're like, that person should never come home. But they do come home quite often. And just spoil everything. Disillusionment. A lot of students feel, this is not the course, I thought. Engineering is not what it was. It's not. It's nonsense. You just feel like nothing. Energy drained. I don't have the energy, man. I'm tired. I feel so tired. I just can't. How old is our Prime Minister? 78 or something? 76. Like whatever. He's like 176, I think. Whatever. But he must be doing some work. Not too much, but something he's doing. Right. Taking calls, madam. Yeah. Okay, fine. Sorry, couldn't help it. But how does he do? He has the energy. 70, 80, there is energy. And at young age, you start saying, I don't have any energy. It's not an energy problem. You know, it's a motivation problem. It's not energy. If I tell you in the next room, Deepika Padukone is there waiting for a coffee, you will all run. You will get the energy. Right? But if I tell you that the entrance exam you took last week, you have failed and try again next year, you will like, useless, I don't have the energy to do. Difference, motivation, not energy. It's the right reward. Now, I can't get Deepika for everyone. But you have to find your motivation in what you do. And lack of confidence, like I said, people say, I'm not good enough. What can you do if you decide never to raise your hand for painting? Okay, painting is still this. But if I say, how many of you feel you can make it in life? If you say, I can't, then non-starter, no? Or these lows, whenever these lows happen, you can say it's an alarm bell. Like your mobile phone rings in the morning when you set alarm, it can be alarm bell, right? It can be like, you know what, something is wrong in my life. It's okay. I'm not alone. Everybody has highs and lows. Maybe someone else is having a high right now. I'm having a low. It's okay. One day he'll have a low. I have to do something about it. I will do something about it so that I can change the direction of my life, change something, and then fix it. The key word is change. I will change something, right? Not just sit and do all these things. Next. So how to keep going? You're like, okay, we have highs and lows. How do you keep going? How do you avoid these lows? I don't want to give you big lecture, right? Just give you three things actually. Just three little things. Like time to time, we check our fever. We check our pulse. Are we feeling okay? Are we feeling good? To check your health. I want you to check from time to time these three things. Just these three things. One is your motivation. Whatever you're doing in life, whether it's a job, it's a business, it's a student life, what makes you do this? Why are you doing this? And the reason has to be other than money. Money is a good thing. It gives you a lot of security. It gives you a lot of power. It gives you a good life. So I like money. But I am telling you, you must have a reason apart from money to do what you do.
Hello, hi Chetan. I'm Jibin Burkis from Tamil Nadu College of Engineering. I just came across your awesome tweet, a big ego is a sign of future loser. That inspired me a lot. Could I have more view on it?
A big ego is a sign of a future loser. Yeah, you didn't read my this morning's tweet, did you?
Not exactly.
Yeah, it was inspired by my visit here. I said, no matter how much money Mr. A. Raja has, something tells me that he still likes to eat curd rice and rasam. Then why, Mr. Raja, why did you do this? So, so what is he going to do? What is he going to do with all? I'm sure if today he's stressed, he would love to have a nice hot rasam and curd rice to feel better. That's all it takes to be happy in life. Why did he have to do this? It's just, anyway, but you're coming back to your question. Yes, I think a big ego is a sign of a future loser. I wrote it the day I must have met some people in Bollywood, I'm sure, who were throwing their attitude at me. It's funny, you feel, success is something we all want and it's good to have it, but it should not affect your personality. It should, or if at all, it should just give you some self-confidence. That's good. But if it turns you into arrogant and it turns you into egomaniac, that's the day the growth stops. And I've seen so many examples. People who keep their head down, they keep moving up. And I try very hard, like I don't, I keep making fun of this time 100 thing also. It's like, whatever, it's just silly. Because the moment you take it into your head, come on, I'm not in the most 100. Today, people who did that revolution in Egypt, all of them are influential, more influential than me. So it's just, but you find that people can't handle success. Today I've told you about how to get success. But I'll tell you, there is a bigger problem on how to handle success. And that's almost a different presentation. And that summary of that is that if you let it get to your head, your growth will stop. And once the growth stops, you'll get more frustrated and then the decline will start. So yes, a big ego, always you see, people with big egos end up becoming losers one day. They never survive, right? You can see all the despots and dictators all over the world, what's happening to them now. It's their ego that did them in, It's the fact that they started thinking they're all powerful and nothing can happen to them. So that's when, yeah.
Good evening, sir. Today our entire summit is about leadership. So what is exactly the quality of a good leader? Is it being the first or being the best?
Okay. I think we were studying this, Anubhav works with me, and we were just discussing it a lot on the plane. And I think it comes down to this, whenever you're a leader, it's about, one is the core business, right, that you have to deliver to. A leader has to deliver good business, whether it's manufacturing, he has to make a lot of good products, whether it's service, he has to give that service well. And the second thing is people, right? So good leadership is a balancing between caring for your business, the money aspect, and caring for your people. And I think often these two dimensions is what a leader tries to balance all the time, try to get the people to be cared for, but not so much that the business gets ignored, that you let spoil them, but at the same time not get so heartless about business that you don't stop caring about people. So I think that's the bottom line. Whether you are the CEO, whether you are working in a team, whether you are junior, the fact is, if you really want to shine as a leader, you have to show business expertise and people expertise. Often people feel, I'm such a good leader, I'm going to do the best business. No. If you're a good leader, you have to be a people person also. But you can't be such a good people person that everybody loves you, but nobody listens and nobody does the work. So that is the balance. I think that's something.
Hi sir, good evening. I'm very happy to meet you in person and I'm also excited. One personal question from me is, did you really propose in front of the others in the interview?
Okay, let's have another question. I mean, take it maybe, yeah.
Okay. Who is the female who traveled with you?
Okay, my God, this is really an interrogation now. Huh? Well, whatever is there in the books, whatever I have said so much. So I think if I have not said it, that means
So it's all virtual presentations that goes on when we turn over the pages. That is why we have these questions.
Yes, but some questions are meant to be there. So who was that girl who was that girl on the train is a question I want to remain. That adds to the mystery. If I tell you, then it's over. It's like asking the magician, how did you do that? Then I'm no longer a magician. Then,
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, that AXN has that program. I love that program. Do you like it? I love it. And I just love that program. World's biggest magic tricks. But then it's no longer magic, it becomes an illusion. Right? Yeah. No, I will. Katrina was the girl. Show the hello, right? Okay. Yeah. No, it's definitely something I've been doing a lot in my columns. It may even one day be. And, it's definitely on my mind. It has to be a good story though. For me, the first criteria is the story has to be really interesting. And if it's cannot be a story, then it becomes a column. It becomes an important issue, but cannot be dramatized. But I'm sure this can be a good story also. And it's something I'll do. But, it is something political reforms need to happen. In fact, that Sonia Gandhi letter was basically talking about this, that why youth is not able to join politics today. Let's look at the practical problems, If you join any of the parties, whether it's the Youth Congress or the Yuva Morcha or any of the parties' youth wings, you will be, if you have to do well, you will be basically working full time there, right? You'll be spending a lot of time there. But there is no formal salary system. There is no stipend system. So how is a young, intelligent youth who can get a job elsewhere, he will join this, how will he support himself? They do it through petty corruption. I'll make you meet an MP. I'll get this little job done for you. I know some contacts. Then they basically get some money from there. Now, how can you, basically what you're saying is that's how the corruption is starting, right? You're telling the young kid, you join this, but you will have to be a little bit corrupt to survive. Now, therefore, everybody who comes there has to be, unless you come from a very rich family. The other is a campaign limits. You have 25 lakhs campaign limit. Today it's come, they've increased it a little bit. But you have a 25 lakh campaign limit for a polling. And MPs have told me the average is 6 crores. That's what they spend. It's a stupid campaign limit. And now it's 40 lakhs today. So it's not enough. And where is the money coming from? It's black money, it's corruption money. And every MP signs that I did not spend more. They sign an oath. So everybody is a liar. How can you have a profession where you have to be a liar and be corrupt to even get started? You can't have that. No other profession in the world. So the poor I'm not saying rarely do people sympathize with politicians, but I'm just trying to tell you that it's very difficult for a youth to go there and change things unless these structural adjustments are not made. These can be fixed. These problems can be fixed. But we have to realize, and once this is fixed, then much better youth will come. Then they will do their job. And like you have other army and other services, there will be politicians which will be good people. So it takes time, We have a system which is so entrenched, so many powerful people. It will get there. But, countries take time to change. Yeah.
We'll have
One more, yeah.
So, hi sir, I'm Vignesh. Sir, how can one be a leader in his personal life?
I think you can be a leader in your personal life by doing everything a leader does in an organization. You set goals for yourself, you challenge yourself, you motivate yourself, you take care of yourself. I think you have to have a view. You have to learn how to think and plan. And these are things that are, I know it sounds very simple, I know how to think, but you'll be surprised. It's not easy to think. People have lost the art of thinking. They just are on internet all the time, the phone all the time. But you have to learn how to think for yourself. And yes, every leader has to be a leader for himself first. Yeah.
Sir, one more question, please.
Okay, last. Quick.
I wanted to ask you the problems you faced after writing the book. I'll be very clear with my question. You are the one who changed the pattern of writing novels in India. Before it was boring. As you said, Arundhati Roy, no one can read the book except who?
No, it's not true. It's a good book.
I'll be clear. Okay.
What is the question?
In One Night at Qual Center, you started about collapsing in Qualis. Then in second book, you went very deep in what happened in the balcony. In the terrace. And in the third book, you criticized about even your own dad-in-laws, and you had some kind of inferior.
What is your question?
Okay. After writing about sex, did you face any criticisms that Chetan Bhagat writes about sex very frankly?
I don't know. Let me just put it, I got more praise than criticism. I do write about it, but it's just 2-3 pages in a 300-page book. And you seem to remember each and every scene very clearly. So, so obviously they're kind of memorable sequences. And I write about sex because people have sex. It's as simple as that. And I can't write a fake book. I don't write very explicit, very detailed. It's just very quick but I can't deny, I can't show the extent of a relationship until I show how close they are. And I think it's better I do feel concerned that young people may be reading, right? I do feel that now. So I may tone it down, but the fact is it's better they see it in the context of a whole story than just googling it on the internet and watching porn, which makes no sense at all. to them, what is this? You know, a young kid sees that. But it's better they see a story and realize that these are people in love and this is what happens. And that's okay. We can grow up, you know. It's okay. We all, you remember them,
Yeah.
right? So that means there is something in us that makes us curious about it. It's okay. It's not the focus of my books, ever. But it's there in the books. And people are surprised. Just because I'm the most influential people in the world and talk about changing the country, it doesn't mean I can't have fun, you know. I can. Do I have to be a saint and only then change the country? No, right? It's okay.
Since I asked you the question, don't stop it. You can proceed
No,
with
no,
it.
I'm not stopping. I won't stop it, but I'll be careful a little bit. Okay, I think we have to close. Huh?
So we have a last question for you.
Okay.
Will,
Yeah. Yeah.
will we get a movie of your two states? And if we get a movie, what is the change would you like to have in the story of two states?
Okay, the movie, it's funny you said that we are in talks to make it, yeah, someone knows here, someone has heard the news, yeah. You know we are in talks with to play Krish? Shah Rukh, so let's see. I don't know the girl, I don't know. I think they're saying new girl. From what I heard, they said they wanted a girl from South India who's very authentic Tamilian accent. So, and it may be totally new also. So, you know, there's people here who can apply. I don't know how they're doing it, but yes, I do know that they are saying, it's Vishal Bhardwaj making it. He makes very authentic films. So he said that he wants the girl to really look like new to the North Indian audiences, you know. That's when it'll look more interesting and not the very established. So it's still time, but I don't know what I'll change in the film. I don't know, I'll just make it a little, you know, the story is a bit long, so it'll have to be cut down quite a bit. You can't have 300 pages so let's see. And I'll make it even more positive. I think there's still a little dark elements. I would make it more funny and even more funny if possible. So yeah, let's see. Oh, we have to end, lady. Why, people who are giving the mics, they just collect the mics back, no? Why are the mics being circulated like that? Yes, now that you have the mic, ask. Okay. Or is it gone? Gone. Yeah, and then return the mic to the mic people, not to anybody else. Okay?
Could you please tell me how has IIM influenced you? I mean, how much has it influenced you? And if it has really influenced you?
It has. It after engineering, you know, I think it helps you structure your thoughts. And MBA courses, you learn a little bit about business, you learn about accounts. So, which funnily enough, my own life, I have a little business. I'm an entrepreneur in a way. I have my books and I do my talks and columns, and there is a bit of I do some marketing, and there is a bit of a business that I run, and I think it has been very helpful. And it does give me credibility because having that degree, people take me a little more seriously, I think. So, yeah. Okay. I think, I'm so sorry. I know you have lots of questions. I love to chat, but, you know, there is other items going on. So, yeah.